Chapter 109. Linhai Base. The warriors still went to the wild to hunt the beasts, and the ordinary people or the warriors worked all year round, completely unaware of the arrival of the beast tide. And the Demon Sea Base has obviously completely abandoned the Linhai Base and will not notify anyone in the Linhai Base. However, many high-level officials in the Linhai Base noticed a strange situation. Not that they had discovered the beast tide, but that the people from Wuge and the bank were secretly evacuating. In response to this situation, a meeting began. Grandmaster Old Man Li, as well as a group of great martial artists, gathered at the Lin family one after another. After all, the Lin family is the nominal manager, so it is natural to choose the Lin family for the meeting. But this time, it was not Lin Wanli who presided over the meeting, but Grandmaster Old Man Li, and only Old Man Li had this qualification. At the meeting, Old Man Li spoke. Everyone, you must all know very well that almost all the high-level martial arts in the black market have secretly left, and the pavilion master Wu Zhang of the martial pavilion has also disappeared. There are only some martial artists and martial disciples left in the entire martial pavilion who originally belonged to our coastal base. In addition, the same is true for banks, where the top management is almost gone. According to the investigation, they all returned to the Demon Sea Base. Back to the Demon Sea Base? A group of great warriors frowned. Is something wrong with the Demon Sea Base? Asked a great martial artist. Old Man Li shook his head. I don't know, maybe something happened to the Demon Sea Base, but it's more likely that something is going to happen to our Linhai Base. What? Something is going to happen at the Linhai Base? A great warrior who originally belonged to the Iron Fang Base immediately screamed. He has experienced the destruction of the Iron Tooth Base not long ago. Could it be that something is going to happen to the Linhai Base? At this time, Old Man Li analyzed. Think about it. If something happens to the Demon Sea Base, what is the use of those people from the bank and the martial pavilion going back? They are just the bottom of the Demon Sea Base. Where can they live comfortably in the Linhai Base? But now, they are all gone, obviously in a hurry to leave our coastal base, and do not want to stay here. Except that the coastal base will be dangerous, I can't think of any other reason. Can you contact the Demon Sea Base? It's better to figure out what's going on. Lin Wanli frowned. Can't be contacted. Old Man Li shook his head. All the communication equipment that can be contacted has been taken away, and the liaison device we purchased can only be used in the Linhai Base, and the people in the Demon Sea Base cannot be contacted at all. Could it be that the group of fierce beasts that destroyed the Iron Fang Base is coming to the Linhai Base? The leader of that group of fierce beasts is a king beast. Although it is the weakest king beast, blowing a breath is enough to kill us. If the king beast is coming, the Linhai Base will definitely not be able to stop it, and there is a reason why the people of Wuge and the bank have withdrawn. A great martial artist guessed. Unlikely. Old Man Li retorted. I sent someone to investigate. That fierce beast group has no movement, and it shouldn't have come to the Linhai Base. In addition, even if the king beast attacked, that king beast was just the weakest king beast, and it was also a king beast that was forcibly improved by special methods, and its real combat power was only equivalent to a half-step king beast. There is no power and defense of the king beast, but no speed of the king beast. There are quite a few king-level existences in the Demon Sea Great Base, and sending a random king level is enough to destroy that group of fierce beasts. What's going on? There are great warriors who are in a hurry. Why don't we go to the Demon Sea Base to hide? There is a great warrior who proposes. No way. Lin Wanli was the first to refuse. Most of us are people with families, so how can we be sure that something is wrong with the Demon Sea Base? Lin Wanli's words were agreed by many great martial artists, and the great martial artist who had just proposed to hide was warned by Old Man Li. At this moment, an elite martial artist ran in to report. Master Grandmaster, Lord Martial Artist, no, an incomparably terrifying beast has entered the base. The person who came said in a panic. Old Man Li hurriedly asked, what fierce beast is there? The other great martial artists also stared at the elite martial artist, and they also wanted to know what was going on. My lords, just now, a flying beast with a length of 10 meters flew into the base. The speed was too fast, the others didn't react at all, and in the end, the fierce beast seemed to have landed in the Central Garden community, said the elite martial artist. Central Garden community. Everyone present is no stranger to this community. If it was a long time ago, This community was just an ordinary villa area, but since the rise of UTN, the price of villas in this community has been rising. It is only with UTN leaving that the price of villas in the community has dropped. Let's go, let's see. Old Man Lee led the way, and the great warriors followed. Grandmaster UTN returns. Soon, they came to the Central Garden community. At this time, someone immediately came to report, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's Grandmaster UTN who has returned." Grandmaster UTN is back? Everyone was delighted. UTN went to the Demon Sea Base, and after staying in the Demon Sea Base for so long, he must know the inside story of this matter, and they may be able to learn from UTN the reason for the withdrawal of the Marshall Pavilion and the bank. Old Man Lee was mixed at this time. Happy that the strange situation in the Linhai base might be able to be explained, but the worry was that he couldn't command everyone at will, but he had to surrender to UTN, and listen to UTN's words. This was what he was unhappy about. However, he still said, "Come with me to meet Sect Master UTN." A group of great martial artists followed a Grandmaster all the way, causing a huge sensation in the Central Garden, and the news of Grandmaster UTN's return also flew to all parts of the Linhai base like wings, and countless people knew the news of UTN's return. But these people still have to do what they should do, and they don't have much emotion. After all, a figure at UTN's level will not have anything to do with them, and it's useless to pay too much attention. UTN's villa. UTN's villa. At this time, UTN was cleaning up. After all, he was going to live here for the next period of time. But Xiao Shui looked around with some disgust. "Master, this shabby place is far worse than our home. Why do we want to live here? This is my former home." UTN gave a little white look. Xiao Shui immediately changed his words. "Master, I think this place is very classical, and it is definitely a good place to live. Your reaction speed is quite fast, and your desire to survive is also very strong. It seems that you are growing up very fast." UTN said calmly on the surface, but he was very surprised in his heart. He remembered that when Xiao Shui was just conceived, he could only say a few simple words such as hunger, thirst, and sleep. How long had passed, and Xiao Shui's body had not only grown to 10 meters, but even his IQ was comparable to that of a human teenager. The qualifications and the rate of growth are astounding. It's worthy of the Sun-level bloodline talent, UTN said darkly. Chapter 110. Someone's coming. UTN's spiritual power sensed that a group of people were coming from outside the villa, and they were the high-level people of the Linhai base. "Let's meet Sect Master Yi." Old Man Lee and the great warriors stood outside UTN's gate, bending down and respectfully worshipping. "Come in." UTN's voice came. Old Man Lee and the great warriors walked in, and soon saw UTN and the Battle Blood Heavenly Dragon. Although the Battle Blood Heavenly Dragon restrained the dragon's might, the momentum and realm on his body were not concealed in the slightest. Top beasts. Old Man Lee looked at Xiao Shui and trembled. He had a feeling that this beast had the strength to kill him in seconds, and it was definitely the most terrifying top-level beast. Immediately, he looked at UTN and was immediately shocked. Grandmaster. UTN's realm at this moment is a Grandmaster, not a great martial artist. Not only was Old Man Lee stunned, but the other great martial artists were also stunned. The reason why they called UTN Grandmaster Lee was only because UTN surpassed ordinary Grandmasters in battle and had the combat power to kill ordinary Grandmasters, but the real cultivation still belonged to the great martial artists. But now, UTN has actually stepped into the realm of a Grandmaster. UTN at the level of a great martial artist can kill a Grandmaster, and now that UTN has become a Grandmaster, isn't it as easy as killing an ordinary Grandmaster like killing a chicken and slaughtering a dog? Oh! Everyone was even more in awe of UTN, and they didn't dare to slack off in the slightest. Sect Master Yi, why are you back? Old Man Lee showed a lowly appearance. Where is there still the domineering and coercion of the Grandmaster, as if he is a complete little guy? There will be a crisis at the Linhai base, so I'm back. UTN didn't hide it. He needed to inform the people at the Linhai base that they had the right to know. Besides, he also hoped that Old Man Lee and others would help him do something, so he naturally had to tell the truth. Crisis at the coastal base. Old Man Lee panicked in his heart. He had guessed that this would be the case, so he called a meeting, but after a day of uncertainty, there was a glimmer of hope in his heart. But now, UTN, who came back from the Demon Sea base, personally said that there was a crisis in the Linhai base, which must be incomparable. Sect Master Yi, please save the Linhai base. Lin Wanli pleaded. The other great martial artists and Old Man Li also hurriedly followed and begged Yu Tian, Sect Master Yi, please also ask you to save the Linhai base. Hey! Yu Tian sighed deeply and said, I came back this time to deal with this matter, but I will remind you first, if you are defeated, I will not stay at the Linhai base, and I will flee as soon as possible. You guys, be prepared to run away at any time, but whether you can escape or not depends on your luck. Old Man Li's face changed, and he asked, Sect Master Yi, could it be that the king beast that destroyed the Iron Tooth base is going to attack the Linhai base? No. Yi Tian shook his head. If it is a disaster caused by just one king beast, the Demon Sea base will not let the Linhai base go alone. This is a gateway to the Demon Sea base. But now the Demon Sea base has no way to reinforce the Linhai base, because the Demon Sea base is also in danger of destruction. Rumble. This news completely shocked Old Man Li and others. The Demon Sea base is a big base. There are countless grandmasters, and there are also many kings. So there will be a danger of destruction in such a huge base? What kind of disaster is that? They can't imagine it, not even dare to imagine it. Will our Linhai base also face the same crisis as the Demon Sea base? Lin Wanli said in despair. Yes, Yi Tian said solemnly. I don't know the specific situation. I only know that an unprecedented beast tide is about to break out. The Demon Sea base and several other large bases are within the range of attack. As for a small base like the Linhai base, it is only the scope of the impact, but even if it is affected a little, it is not something that a small base can stop. In such a situation, the Demon Sea base will definitely be desperate to defend its own base, and it is impossible to support other bases. I see. Lin Wanli finally knew why the people from Wuge and the people from the bank ran away. In their opinion, although the Demon Sea base is also dangerous, it is much more likely to be preserved than the Linhai base, and if there is no accident, the Linhai base will almost certainly be destroyed. Sect Master Yi, can we bring in and move into the Demon Sea Great Base now? Lin Wanli hoped. It's impossible. Yi Tian vetoed Lin Wanli's proposal and explained. The vast majority of people in the Demon Sea base don't know about the beast tide, just for fear of causing panic, and only the core members of the big forces know about it. If you want to move the Demon Sea base, don't you want to make it known to everyone? Do you believe that those big forces will send people to kill you outside the Demon Sea base? Swish! Everyone's faces changed, and this thought was dispelled. Sect Master Yi, what now? Old Man Li asked. He is a Grand Master, and now he has more than 100 years to live, so he naturally doesn't want to die. Let's set up the formation first. According to my estimate, there will be at least a few days before the beast tide erupts. We still have time. I will arrange some more defensive formations in the next few days. At least it can be of a little use. Yi Tian said. Formation? Sect Master Yi, are you still a formation mage? Old Man Li was surprised. He had been to the Demon Sea base, so he naturally knew the formation of the Demon Sea base, and he also knew how high the status of the formation mage was. Not bad. Yi Tian nodded in response. Sect Master Yi, then do we need to help with anything? Old Man Li looked at Yi Tian. You can help me get a batch of array plate embryos. This thing is not complicated, but it has high requirements for materials. You need Yuanli materials. You can make it look like a formation plate, and the blacksmith shop in the Linhai base can build it. You can help me get more. Yi Tian instructed everyone. Okay, let's go. Everyone hurriedly went to get the array embryo, and Yi Tian also began to refine the formation, and most of them were defensive formations and attack formations. This time, he also brought a lot of array plates, but they were definitely not enough, so he asked Old Man Li and others to help get some array plates. Refining, refining, refining. Yi Tian engraved one formation pattern after another on the formation disk, and with the amplification effect of his top-level formation talent, he could inscribe a primary formation array disk in less than 10 minutes, and an intermediate formation array disk could be engraved in less than half an hour. As for the high-level formation array, he didn't have the ability to engrave it now, because his formation realm was only an intermediate formation mage. Mainly based on the primary formation plate, supplemented by the intermediate formation plate. This is the refining plan that Yi Tian set for himself. Preparations for the beast tide. Time passed day by day. Yi Tian could refine about 100 primary array discs every day, but in the end, the intermediate array discs did not refine many. And the price paid for this was that Yi Tian had no rest at all, and he had no time to cultivate. In a flash, 5 days passed. Yi Tian refined a total of 489 primary array discs and 18 intermediate array discs. Subsequently, Yi Tian let all the defensive formations of Old Man Li and the others be embedded on the walls around the Linhai base, and as for the offensive formations, they were placed in the open space outside the Linhai base. During this time, the Linhai base was closed and people were not allowed to enter and exit, so as not to touch the formation. Yi Tian rarely rested for a long time, and did not continue refining. Otherwise, the state would not be able to keep up, and if the combat effectiveness was reduced, it would be a big deal. The formation only slightly restrained the beast tide to avoid being taken away by a wave, and what really relied on his own combat power was still his own. So, he has to stay at the top of his game. Chapter 111. The sun is in the sky. A blood-colored shadow flew into Yi Tian's villa, under eyes that others were accustomed to. This figure is Little Blood. In the past few days, Yi Tian has been frantically refining the array disc, and Xiao Shui has been sent out by Yi Tian to investigate information. No, Xiao Shui has reported on the investigation of intelligence today. Little Blood, your breath has risen a little. Did you devour a lot of fierce beast blood outside? Yi Tian asked. I didn't eat much. I ate a little. Little Blood retorted. How much is a little bit? Yi Tian said with a smile. There are only a few hundred high-level fierce beasts, 7 or 8 top-level fierce beasts. Xiao Shui said. Is this still a little bit? Yi Tian glanced at Xiao Shui, and then said, How is the investigation? When will the beast tide break out? Xiao Shui replied seriously, I observed from the sky. There are a large number of fierce beasts gathered in the east, and I also sensed a lot of terrifying aura, so I didn't dare to approach. About 30,000 kilometers to the east, I saw a spatial rift, and many fierce beasts came out of the spatial rift. Spatial rift. Yi Tian was shocked. He finally knew why the beast tide broke out. Everything originated from the spatial rift. It turns out that this is the case. The martial artists of the Demon Sea base must have found a space crack. It's estimated that it's a space crack that has just appeared. 60,000 kilometers seems to be a long distance, but in the eyes of the king, it is a very short distance. The Demon Sea base is very close to the Linhai base, so the space crack is also about 60,000 kilometers away from the Demon Sea base. This distance is very dangerous for the Demon Sea base. Yi Tian muttered. A brand new spatial rift. This is an absolute disaster for the Demon Sea Great Base and several nearby large bases. It is indeed a matter of destruction if you're not careful, unless you can kill the powerful beast that comes out of the spatial rift and completely control this spatial rift. But is it possible? Although he didn't know the situation of the spatial rift, the crisis on the Earth came from the spatial rift, and the other end of the spatial rift was definitely the lair of the fierce beast. If he wanted to control the spatial rift, he had to enter the other end of the spatial rift. You can imagine how difficult this is. I don't want to think so much about it first. It's important to keep the coastal base. Yi Tian no longer thought about the matter of the spatial rift, but let Xiao Shui leave the Linhai base and go to the sky to observe the situation of the beast tide. Once the beast tide comes, Little Blood will report as soon as possible. After Xiao Shui's departure, Yi Tian didn't refine the array disc. This thing was enough. No matter how much it was useless. Yi Tian began to cultivate. Every day of cultivation, his strength would increase a lot, so it was good to be able to increase his strength a little. It was better than wasting time. The major high-level leaders of the Linhai base did not do nothing. They began to form a team of warriors. As long as they are warriors, they must join, and no one can disobey them. In addition, ordinary people and warriors began to dig tunnels. Fierce beasts that can move underground are still very rare, so digging many tunnels can allow ordinary people or children to enter the tunnels and avoid being affected by the battle of the warriors. Even if the coastal base is breached, what if you are lucky enough to survive hiding in the tunnel? This is also a hope. It can be said that the entire Linhai base has begun to mobilize. 3 days passed. Little Blood flew back and informed Yi Tian of the dynamics of the beast tide. Master, the beast tide has moved, and it is heading in all directions, and a small team of fierce beasts is coming towards the Linhai base. Little Blood reported. Is there a king beast? Yi Tian asked. This is what he wants to know the most. If there is a king beast, it will be more troublesome. The strength of the king beast is not comparable to the top fierce beast. If it is a weak king beast, Yi Tian's speed is not weaker than that of the king beast, and his attack power is far beyond the extreme of the Grand Master, comparable to the king level, so he can also fight with the king beast, and even be able to kill the weaker king beast. What he was afraid of was the powerful king beast, because the difference in strength between the king beast and the king beast was very large. There is only one king beast, but there are more than 100 top-level beasts. There are about tens of thousands of high-level beasts, and hundreds of thousands of other beasts. Xiao Shui said a staggering number. So many beasts? Yi Tian frowned. With the current situation of the Linhai base, at most he can deal with those ordinary fierce beasts, and as for the top fierce beasts and king beasts, he and Xiao Blood can only deal with them. Little Blood, all the top beasts are dealt with by you. Are you sure? Yi Tian asked. It's sure. It's just a group of top-level fierce beasts with low bloodlines. How can it be compared to me? Little Blood is full of confidence. That's good. Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief. There is a small blood to contain those top-level fierce beasts. Old Man Li and other big martial artists, elite martial artists, will deal with high-level fierce beasts, intermediate fierce beasts, and low-level fierce beasts. Although they can't stop it, with the help of the formation, they can barely compete with one or two. His mission is to slay the king beast as quickly as possible. I have finished refining the yin dimensional vein, increased the power of 10 elephants, and now the strength of the body has reached the power of 11 elephants. The power of the Yuan force can reach 22 elephants. The Qingfeng slash has 6 times the increase in attack, and the pseudo-mystic level strength talent can be increased by 30 times, so my strongest attack power can reach 3,960 elephant power. The extreme strength of ordinary grandmasters is only 200 elephants, and the attack power of weaker king beasts is only 400 or 500 elephants, but the one who arrives is definitely not a very weak king beast. Once the opponent has an offensive talent, it will be difficult to deal with. Yi Tian analyzed. Now, he could only hope that the strength of that king beast was not strong, otherwise it would be a hard battle. Swish! Yi Tian's figure moved, and he walked towards the place where Old Man Li was. Soon, Yi Tian found Old Man Li. Sectmaster Yi, why are you here? Old Man Li was surprised. The beast tide is coming. There is only half an hour left. Let's get ready to fight. Yi Tian said solemnly. What? The beast tide is coming. Old Man Li panicked for a while. Sectmaster Yi, what is the scale of the beast tide? Asked Old Man Li with a pale face. A king beast, more than 100 top-level fierce beasts, tens of thousands of high-level fierce beasts, hundreds of thousands of low-level fierce beasts. Yi Tian said truthfully. Even if Old Man Li was afraid, there was nothing he could do. Rumble. A desperate coolness covered Old Man Li's mind, and he couldn't speak for a long time. The king beast and more than 100 top-level fierce beasts are dealt with by me and the beast pet. The Linhai base only needs to face the high-level fierce beasts and the middle and low-level fierce beasts. You can resist for at least a while by relying on the formation I arranged. What you need is to delay time. I will kill the king beast as soon as possible to support you. This is Yi Tian's commitment and guarantee. Sectmaster Yi, can you slay the king beast? Old Man Li was stunned. If the other grandmasters said this, he would definitely not believe it, but the person who opened his mouth was Yi Tian, and he had some belief in his heart. As long as it's not too powerful a king beast, I can kill it. Yi Tian replied with great certainty. In an instant, Old Man Li's confidence soared, and he promised, Sectmaster Yi, I will definitely lead other martial artists to block the fierce beast and delay time for Sectmaster Yi. Yi Tian nodded, his body moved, and disappeared. And Old Man Li immediately summoned other warriors to go to the city wall to guard the Linhai base. As for the ordinary people, after giving orders one by one, they hid in the underground passages. A great battle between man and beast is about to begin. Chapter 112. The seaside base, above the city walls. A large number of warriors stood there, looking into the distance. At this time, they were very frightened in their hearts, and some of them couldn't even hold the Yuan force weapon in their hands. Old Man Li and the other grandmasters had already explained the situation to them. The beast tide was coming, led by a king beast and hundreds of top fierce beasts, along with hundreds of thousands of other fierce beasts. If it weren't for Old Man Li and the others repeatedly assuring them that someone would deal with the king beast and the top fierce beasts, they definitely wouldn't dare to have the slightest intention of fighting. Time passed little by little, and everyone's hearts became more and more nervous. Then, an elite martial artist with the talent of Eagle Eye suddenly shouted, "The beast tide is coming. The boundless fierce beast wave is here, and the beast leading them is a huge black bear with a body up to 100 meters. Rumble." These words completely panicked everyone present. Silence. If this battle cannot be stopped, not only will we die in battle, but even our relatives and friends behind us will die. So, we have no choice but to fight, Old Man Li said with a serious face. However, Old Man Li was also afraid of death in his heart, but he was a grand master, so he couldn't be afraid in front of a group of weak martial artists. Helpless, he could only forcibly calm down. Above the sky, Yi Tian and Little Blood stood in the air, looking at the beast tide in the distance. Little Blood, I'll stop that king beast first, and after a while, you stop those top fierce beasts. As for the other fierce beasts, don't care, Yi Tian commanded. Actually, he also wanted to stop all the beasts at once, but that was not realistic. The battle line of the fierce beasts is very long, and it's impossible for him to stop it all at once. Even the most powerful king level cannot stop so many fierce beasts at once, so he can only carry out the decapitation operation first. Yi Tian flew towards the king beast without using teleportation. Teleportation is his whole card and cannot be exposed for the time being. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tian came to the front of the king beast, his eyes staring at the king beast. The coverage of his copying talent had now reached 1,000 meters, which just covered the king beast, and he saw the talent of this king beast. Species: Black-backed warbear. Bloodline talent: top. Defense talent: medium. Strength talents: medium. This king beast is not simple. Yi Tian's face was full of solemnity. The bloodline talent of this king beast is only the top, and the bloodline talent is very low. It's estimated that it was a fluke to become a king beast, and it can't progress anymore. With the physical strength of the king beast, it has the power of 300 elephants just after breaking through, which is about the same as the power of 150 elephants of the human king level plus the power of 300 elephants after the increase of Yuan power. But the key is that the strength talent of the black-backed warbear is medium, and it can increase its strength by more than 5 times, which is equivalent to the power of 1,500 elephants. If that's all it takes, it's easy to deal with, but this king beast also has a medium defense talent, which can cancel out a lot of attack power. Yi Tian's attack power can hurt the black-backed warbear, but it will take some time to kill him. And time is the deadliest, and he can't afford to delay. Kill! Yi Tian didn't dare to delay for a second, and Qingfeng cut at the black-backed warbear. Roar! The black-backed warbear slapped at Yi Tian angrily, and his palms seemed to be as thick as a piece of earth. Rumble! Qingfeng's slashing blade cut into the black-backed warbear's hands, leaving a 3-inch-long blood mark, and the black-backed warbear's body also took a few steps back, trampling on a top-level fierce beast, as well as a number of high-level fierce beasts. Roar! 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 The black-backed bear told the other beasts to get out of the way and attack the coastal base, so that they didn't get in its way. Yi Tian's battle with the black-backed warbear continued. Chop! 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 Yi Tian released Qingfeng again and again to cut at the black-backed warbear's body, damaging the black-backed warbear again and again, but it was difficult to hit a key point. After all, the black-backed warbear was also a king beast, and its reaction power wasn't slow, and its speed wasn't bad, but its attack power was weaker. 100 miles away, Little Blood made a move, and it rushed into the beast tide, staring at those top fierce beasts. At this time, it ignored the attacks of those top fierce beasts. The speed of Little Blood isn't very fast, after all, its cultivation is weak. Its speed talent is only medium, and its flying talent is also high. Under the increase, at most, its speed is about the same as those powerful top fierce beasts, but if there is a speed talent among the powerful top fierce beasts, the speed of Little Blood will not be able to keep up. But Zhaoblood's defense is high, with top-level defense. It isn't afraid of the attacks of other top-level beasts at all, and its strength talent has reached the top, and the power of one blow surpasses the limit of top-level beasts. What's more, it has other talent supports. Dragon Soul Talent. Rumble. A huge dragon-shaped phantom appeared above Little Blood's head, and as soon as this dragon-shaped phantom appeared, the fierce beasts within a radius of 10 miles were shocked, and felt a supreme coercion. This is the suppression of the dragon soul against other fierce beasts, so that their strength cannot be brought into full play. Then, Ang! Little Blood let out a dragon groan, which was its high-level dragon groaning talent. Suddenly, a powerful sound wave spread out in all directions. Countless fierce beasts were shocked to death, including some weaker top-level fierce beasts. Piece after piece of the carcasses of ferocious beasts lay on the ground. In the distance, on the wall of the Linhai base, Old Man Li's throat gurgled. He was completely stunned by Xiao Shui's combat power. In terms of the speed of killing fierce beasts, even Yi Tian isn't as good as Little Blood. It's true that Little Blood's ability is immense, and it can cover attacks in a large area, which depends on the dragon blood of Little Blood, which is not comparable to other races. There's hope, Old Man Li and the others said secretly. But the beasts aren't foolish, and it's impossible to let Little Blood continue to kill like this. Roar! 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 One powerful top-tier beast after another besieged Little Blood, preparing to besiege and kill this renegade alien. That's right, they thought that Little Blood was an alien, and even attacked them, who were also fierce beasts. Such an alien traitor must die. Little Blood successfully attracted all the top fierce beasts, but the other fierce beasts did not stop and still attacked the coastal base. They have all been ordered by the Great Being to breach the human base, so as long as they are not finished, they will not stop. A dense crowd of high-level fierce beasts, intermediate fierce beasts, and low-level fierce beasts came one after another, and soon touched the killing array that Yi Tian had arranged in the wild. One by one, the fierce beasts broke into the formation and were bombarded by the formation, piece after piece. These fierce beasts don't know how to break the formation, and they only use their numbers to fill it in. With such a barbaric method, after paying a lot of fierce beast lives, the formations in the wild have been broken one after another. The walls are right in front of them. Old Man Li looked at this scene and stood up. The warriors attack with arrows. All the elite warriors are dispatched to attack the intermediate fierce beasts, and the great martial artists follow me to kill the high-level fierce beasts. If anyone dares to escape, I will be the first to kill him. Without saying a word, Old Man Li was the first to jump off the city wall and fought with a group of high-level fierce beasts. Other warriors also started to fight. No one dared to escape. If they couldn't resist, fleeing was a dead end. At all times, warriors were killed in battle, and many fierce beasts were killed. With the interception of tens of thousands of warriors, it was difficult for the remaining fierce beasts to break the defensive formation on the city wall, and for a while, the Linhai base really resisted the beast tide and was not taken away by a wave. But all the martial artists knew very well that the real battlefield was the battle between Yi Tian and the King Beast. Yi Tian wins, the Linhai base is kept. The King Beast wins, and the Linhai base is destroyed.